My name is Isabella. I'm 36 and live in a quiet suburb just outside Denver, Colorado. I work as an accounting assistant for a company that supplies medical equipment. Our home is small, orderly, no children, no chaos, just me and my husband, Tyler. Tyler's my age, 36. He's a sales team leader at a big real estate firm. Clean-cut, persuasive, always in a crisp button-down shirt and the faint scent of expensive cologne trailing behind him. To anyone looking in, I probably seem fortunate, but they don't know how cold a home can feel when the warmth is only surface deep. Today was supposed to be different. June 12th, our wedding anniversary, 8 years strong. It also happens to be Tyler's birthday. I left work early, drove across town for his favorite red wine, and stopped at a specialty butcher for Wagyu short ribs. I'm no chef, but I tried my best stringing up lights on the balcony, laying out an ivory tablecloth, placing the silverware just right. The cake was waiting in the fridge, frosted in smooth vanilla, with a small message piped on top. To Tyler, happy birthday and anniversary. By 7 p.m. I'd slipped into a dress, added a touch of perfume, and took my seat at the table. I was certain he'd come home. 8 o'clock, candles lit. 9 o'clock, I sent a message, I'm waiting. No reply. 9:30, I called. 5 rings, voicemail. At 10:35 p.m., an email landed in my inbox. Sorry, big client emergency, I have to stay at the office, we'll make it up later. No thank you. No happy anniversary. I set the phone down beside the unused silverware. The candles had long since flickered out. The cake remained untouched in the fridge. I sat there, still holding the napkin I had folded just for him. I didn't cry, but something inside me quietly, unmistakably, shifted. Later that night, I packed it all away, sealed the meat, took down the lights, wiped the table clean. The celebration never happened. There was no one to share it with. By midnight, I was lying on our bed in the wrinkled dress I'd picked for the evening, sleep slipping further away with each passing minute. That short, clinical email kept replaying in my head like a dull blade dragging across skin. It wasn't the first time Tyler came home late, not the first time I waited until the night grew heavy on my shoulders, but this time felt different, an eerie, quiet feeling crawling beneath my skin. The next morning, I got up early and went to work, like always, but the silence followed me. No texts, no missed calls. It was as if I'd vanished from his life. By noon, the unease in my chest turned to dread. I called his office. The receptionist paused, then said, he resigned 3 days ago, didn't leave any forwarding information. I stood in the hallway at work, frozen. The air seemed thicker, like the moment just before a storm breaks. My heart thudded against my ribs as images flashed through my mind, small, forgettable things that suddenly made sense in reverse. It wasn't about a client. It wasn't about work. Tyler had disappeared. And I, his wife of 8 years, was the last to find out. Right after work, I drove straight home, each turn of the wheel heavier than the last, like trying to outrun a storm I knew I couldn't avoid. When I reached our third-floor apartment, the silence inside was thick, oppressive. This place used to feel like home, now it was just a space filled with shadows. The first thing I noticed was the shoe rack. Second row, empty. Tyler's brown leather shoes, his favorites, were gone. Tyler, I called out, my voice echoing too easily. No answer. I rushed to the bedroom, and there he was, standing beside an open suitcase, methodically folding clothes into a duffel bag. A navy suit, a tie, a pair of new dress shoes, tags still dangling from the laces, things he never wore for routine work. What are you doing? I asked, my voice unsteady. He glanced up, expression unreadable. You're back, he said, like it was just another Tuesday, then returned to his packing. I stepped closer. Where are you going? New job, Albuquerque, he said, casual as flipping a light switch. I start next week. I froze. You quit your job, and didn't even tell me. He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled a slim folder from his bag, placed it on the dresser, and opened it. Divorce papers. The first page stared up at me like a punch. My breath caught. Tyler, what is this? His voice was flat, icy. You're not the wife I need anymore. I blinked, stunned. What does that even mean? You're always working. The house isn't what it used to be. You cook once or twice a week. You don't pay attention. You've checked out. I clenched the folder. I tried. You come home late and tell me you've already eaten. I cook. You ignore it. I clean. And you complain I moved your things. And now you want to say I stopped caring? He snapped. Don't make this about little things. Real wives don't need to be reminded. I laughed, cold, bitter. You talk like I've been sitting around doing nothing. I work too. I pay half the bills. No one cooks for me. No one asks how I'm doing, but I kept showing up. Tyler's gaze narrowed. That was your decision. This is mine. He zipped the suitcase, lifted it, and walked to the door. I rented a place near the new office. I'm leaving tonight. Don't try to follow me. I stepped in front of the door. That's it. No apology, no explanation. After 8 years together. He didn't even look at me. I don't owe you anything. And then he walked out. The door clicked shut behind him, quiet, final, like the closing of a vault, or a verdict. I stood there for a second, then collapsed to the floor, still holding the divorce papers in shaking hands. Everything around me felt unreal, as if the world had tilted slightly off its axis and I was the only one left noticing. She's 3 months pregnant. Each word he spoke landed like a dull blade, slow, deliberate, and devastating, not in the way you'd expect. There was no sharp agony, no flood of grief, just a strange, heavy stillness, like something ancient and dead had finally been laid to rest. Marissa Whitmore. I said the name aloud after ending the call. It wasn't unfamiliar. I pulled up Facebook and typed it in. Her profile appeared almost immediately. The photo showed a woman who looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine, soft blonde curls, cutting blue eyes, and a smile too polished to be real. I started scrolling. 10 photos in, I stopped cold. That face, under all the gloss and filters, was one I'd known for years. In high school, her name had been Marissa Ellis. Back then, she was awkward and quiet, a girl who disappeared into the back row of every classroom, stringy hair, uneven skin, and eyes she always kept low to avoid attention. No way. I reopened the wedding photo Tyler had emailed me. The bride in that image was unrecognizable, but the crooked front tooth, barely noticeable now, and the way she held her shoulders, always slightly hunched, those hadn't changed. How could I not see it before? I called Lana, my best friend from high school. Do you remember Marissa Ellis? I asked. There was a beat of silence, then a short laugh. Of course I do. I still have her yearbook photo saved somewhere. Why? I told her everything. Tyler, the surprise wedding, the luxury house, the overnight promotion. Lana didn't sound shocked. She disappeared after graduation, moved to New York for art school, had a ton of work done over the years. Nose, jaw, eyelids, chin, reinvented herself completely. People call her Marissa now, but inside, still the same, always watching, always planning. I said nothing. There was a rumor she had an affair with a married architect in Brooklyn. Lana continued. Then she popped back into town and opened that art gallery downtown. Guess she's aiming higher now. I had no more questions. That night, I sat alone in my living room, staring at the wedding photo. Everything in the picture glittered, her dress, the flowers, her perfect teeth, but beneath the shine, I saw it clearly, careful makeup, an airbrushed illusion, and behind it all, a calculated ambition. And that's who he chose. 1 week later, I received a message from an unknown number. Isabella, are you free? I need to talk, it's serious. I knew who it was. I didn't reply. 15 minutes passed. My phone rang. I answered, not because I cared, but because something told me it might be worth it. Marissa gave birth, Tyler said, a baby girl. Silence, then a long breath. She doesn't look like me, or Marissa, not even close. I clenched the phone, suppressing a laugh. Maybe she favors someone in your family, I said lightly. I thought that too, but, Isabella, his voice shifted urgent, uneasy. Remember when you laughed after I told you about her? You knew something, didn't you? I leaned back in my chair, a slow smirk forming. I didn't need to answer. I just thought it was interesting, I said, masking the edge in my voice. Come on, stop messing around. I did a DNA test, the baby's mine, but I still don't get it. She doesn't look like either of us. I haven't told anyone else, just you. And when I brought it up, you laughed like you already knew something. What is it? I let out a soft, dry chuckle. My voice stayed level. Do you remember your high school yearbook? Silence. I found it while I was packing up the old apartment. It was shoved in the back of your desk drawer, under a thick layer of dust. You were going through my stuff? Tyler snapped, irritation flaring. No, I was cleaning, just like you asked, I said pointedly, and when I opened it, I barely recognized you, a skinny kid with tight curls, squinting at the camera, acne across your cheeks, and a crooked smile. Took me a moment to realize it was you. He let out a slow, uneasy breath. I always wondered, I continued, why in 8 years, you never introduced me to your college friends, why you insisted on a tiny wedding, why there were no teenage photos anywhere in our home. Now it makes sense. I changed because I was insecure, he said, voice low. No, you changed because you wanted to erase who you were, but you overlooked something fundamental: genetics can't be edited. The line hung in the air like smoke. You think I'm ashamed of who I was? No, I replied. I think you're terrified of being exposed, and I feel sorry for that baby because she's going to grow up surrounded by 2 people who can't face the truth. You hid your past, so did Marissa, and now you're both shocked that your daughter doesn't resemble the curated versions of yourselves. You think she'll look like that old version of me? Tyler's voice cracked. No one can say for sure, but she'll carry what's real: your DNA, your history, the things you've tried so hard to erase. He inhaled, shaky and slow. What about Marissa? I asked. How's she handling it? She cried, he said she was overwhelmed from labor. But the truth? What? She won't hold her. Every time she looks at the baby's face, she turns away. Yesterday her mom had to step in and feed her. Marissa just sat there. I don't know what to do. I said nothing at first. The bitterness I felt wasn't for him, it was for a child already met with rejection from the 2 people who owed her everything. I lowered my voice. You once told me I failed as a wife because I lacked sacrifice, but the one abandoning his role as a father is you. He exhaled, maybe to protest or explain, but I cut him off. You don't need advice from me, Tyler. Just don't make that little girl carry the shame you've spent your life running from. She didn't ask for any of this. Before he could respond, I hung up, then I blocked his number. There was nothing left I needed to hear.